Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our third session, Beyond Boundaries, Navigating Multidisciplinary and Interdisciplinary Programs at NUS SCALE. I'm very pleased to introduce our speaker, Mr. Benjamin Tay Wei Xian, Assistant Senior Manager, Academic Programs Business Unit, School of Continuing and Lifelong Education. He leads local and regional program consulting teams and manages recruitment and business development for NUS postgraduate by coursework programs. Now, he has over 10 years of experience in private education, representing top universities from Australia, the UK, and the US. Now, in this session, our speaker will provide an overview of the multidisciplinary as well as interdisciplinary programs offered by NUS School of Continuing and Lifelong Education. And we will explore how these distinctive academic pathways integrate diverse disciplines to foster innovation, critical thinking, and holistic learning. Now, this session aims to shed light on how blending different fields can enhance your educational experience and prepare you for the complexities of today's world. Without further ado, please help me to put your hands together and please welcome Mr. Benjamin Tay.
Good afternoon, everyone. So that's a very kind introduction. Like mentioned, my name is Benjamin. I'm from the NUS SCALE, School of Continuing and Lifelong Education, so SCALE in short. Hope everyone had your lunch. So I'll dive straight into it. Don't have a lot of time today, but basically this is what we are going to talk about. This is a rough agenda and outline for today. First of all, we're gonna spend a couple of slides to detail the history of NUS, some customary slides to let you know who we are, what we stand for. And then, of course, we'll let you know what is SCALE, basically the School of Continuing and Lifelong Education. And then we'll talk about some of the multidisciplinary programs offered by SCALE and why is it different from the traditional programs offered by other NUS schools and faculties. And then, of course, after that, we'll open up the floor to any of you who may have any questions, either here or you can visit us in the consultation room where we have a dedicated booth. I'm sure I've spoken to some of you earlier. And then for those of you who haven't, you can also visit us at the booth later. All right? Okay, so NUS, National University of Singapore in short, is Singapore's flagship university, as well as the oldest higher education institution within the country. So by oldest, what we really mean is close to 120 years of history, so twice as old as our country. So the university was actually founded back in 1905, approximately 119 years ago. It's a very modest medical school at the time with just 23 students. And I was founded by a local businessman by the name of Tan Jiak Kim, along with a group of his friends. So very humble beginnings, which is why you see founded by the community, for the community. But of course, over the past 118, 120 years, we have evolved, we have progressed into the world-renowned university that you see and know about today. So this is our proudest accolade, the recent QS World University Rankings 2025 edition. I actually picked up this infographic from our local newspaper, The Straits Times. So what you see here is basically the who's who's, the top 10 universities around the world, regardless of where they come from. So a lot of our traditional powerhouse like Oxford, Harvard, Cambridge. There you see NUS ranked 8, so being the highest ranked university in Asia and 8th in the world. So something that's very proud, especially for us Singaporeans, being the only Asian university, the only Singaporean university in the top 10 list worldwide. So as we evolve, of course, the 23 students that we once had 120 years ago also multiplied many times over. So today we have a total of 16,000 graduate students housed within 16 schools and faculties spread across 3 campuses in Singapore. So we have the Kent Ridge campus, our main campus. We have the Bukit Timah campus, which currently houses our Faculty of Law and the School of Public Policy. And then we also have the Outram campus, housing Duke and US. So we have a total of 174 graduate programs offered by these 16 different schools and faculties across a wide range of diverse disciplines. But today we are going to talk about the 3 that will be administered by SCALE. So just a very brief snapshot of the 16 schools and faculties across NUS. So School of Continuing and Lifelong Education on the first row, all the way to your right, that is our SCALE. Yeah. So SCALE was actually launched in 2016, the first time any higher education institution actually dedicate an entire school and faculty to lifelong learning. Usually it comprises of maybe an institute or a center, but when we launched SCALE, it's actually a school, a faculty, no different from the business school, no different from the School of Computing. So the education minister at that time, Mr. Ong Yi Kang, was involved in the grand opening, and today, as we speak right now, this is what we offer. So very comprehensive suites of offering across all levels. Undergraduate programs, we have part-time undergraduate programs, the BTech Engineering, the Bachelor of IT, and also at Advanced at NUS, Pathway, which allows mature learners to go back to full-time undergraduate studies. Then the graduate programs, which is what we will be focusing on today. We have 3 multidisciplinary programs: the MSc in Smart Industries and Digital Transformation, the MSc in Venture Creation, and of course, the MSc in Environmental Management. All 3 very strategic and important programs, and we'll discover why later. And then we also have a suite of lifelong learning options, short courses, micro-credentials like executive, professional, graduate certificates, and then learning and development options where we curate custom-made for companies and also placement-oriented programs. So to the university, this is what we term as lifelong learning. So we have PET and CET, right? PET basically stands for pre-employment training, everything you do up to age 25, and then everything you do after age 25, all the way to maybe 60 or even beyond. This is what we term as lifelong learning. So this can be best explained by these various categories and these various programs. Yep, so with that, some slides to let you know why lifelong learning. Basically, what we are accustomed to in the past is not the case now today. So for me, I'm not a habitual job hopper. I mean, this is just my 3rd job. Yeah. So I think someone of my age or someone younger right now will probably have changed jobs 10 times over before they even hit 40. And I think the trend will increase. So today, this trend, right, we also try to future-proof our education, so to prepare future graduates in line with this trend. So gone are the days where you can be well-versed in the discipline and work in a single industry or sector for the rest of your career. So you need to have a wide breadth of knowledge across various industries, disciplines. So that is why we created interdisciplinary learning. Yep, and of course, the pandemic, COVID-19 came, which further ramped up our efforts towards interdisciplinary learning. One of the best examples is a couple of years ago, our School of Design and Environment actually merged with our Faculty of Engineering to now become the College of Design and Engineering, one of the best examples of interdisciplinary learning. Yeah. So with that, right, you don't just stick to a single breadth of discipline. And for students or potential students like yourself, you will now have the more flexibility to curate your curriculum. Basically, you choose what you want to do, you choose what you hope to specialize in, and you do things that you think where your strengths lie in. Yeah. So how this concept will be explored will be in the form of our 3 multidisciplinary programs that we will go into very, very shortly. But before that, just a typical structure of how a Master of Science, MSc by coursework program will look at NUS. So typically, such a program will comprise of 40 units. That's equivalent to about 10 modules, or now we call them courses. So one typical course will carry 4 units. And then throughout the program, you will have your core courses, courses that everyone has to do. And then you have your elective courses where you can practice flexibility and choose what you hope to specialize in. And then usually it will culminate with either an internship or, for most graduate programs, a capstone project. So we'll talk about a capstone project later. But usually that's the final component that you do before you graduate from the program. And throughout the program, you need to maintain a GPA of 3.0 out of 5. That is the GPA that you need to have as well before you can graduate from the program after you complete everything. And our program, the fees start from 48,000 Singapore dollars. Well, of course, we have a lot of funding and subsidies, which I'll share about later. Yep, so these are the 4 future economies that you see here. Future economies that are termed and are defined by our Singapore government as those with the highest growth over the next 5 to 10 years, meaning industries, sectors that will have the most demand for manpower in the next 5 to 10 years as well. So it's only natural that NUS, as the flagship university of Singapore, we structure, we curate, and we categorize our programs according to these future growth economies so that we can produce graduates in industries and sectors that require the most manpower, right? So as you can see here, we have the care economy, the green economy, the industry 4.0 economy, and the digital economy. And for those of you who likes to use your creative ideas or like to explore innovation more, we also have a innovation and entrepreneurship category. So all 3 programs offered by SCALE, as you can see, they are the flagship programs for one of these 4 future economies. So we have the MSc in Smart Industries and Digital Transformation, formerly known as the MSc Industry 4.0, being the flagship program of the I4 economy. Green economy, we have the Environmental Management program. And for those of you who want to practice your skills or who want to aspire to be an entrepreneur, then we have the MSc in Venture Creation, formerly known as the MSc in Entrepreneurship. So if you'd like to find out more about any of these programs, you can of course scan the QR code, go onto the website. But not to worry, later we will go into each one of them in more detail. So first, the MSc in Smart Industries and Digital Transformation. So like I mentioned, a multidisciplinary program which leverages on the curriculum, the expertise, and the input from up to 6 different NUS schools and faculties. So this program was created in 2019. I think that's the year where I joined NUS, so something that's very dear to me. I was involved in the launch. So it was launched specifically and strategically because it is a project to support Singapore's drive towards being a smart nation at the time. Yeah, so with that, right, the curriculum is very much aligned to Singapore Economic Development Board's EDB, Smart Industry Readiness Index. And then the capstone project, like I mentioned earlier, is the perfect way where students can apply what they learn in the classroom in a real-world setting. So translating theory into practice, where you form groups of 4 to 5. We have a wide list of partnering organizations providing real-world problem statements. So you develop prototype solutions for these problem statements, get graded based on that. It's a win-win situation, right? You don't do a simulated project, or you don't do things in a simulated environment. You do what is real out there, try to solve real problems. And then the company, they get the solutions that they want from some of the brightest students from NUS. Yeah. So this is how the structure will look like. Half of the program will constitute of our core courses. So if you look at the leftmost of your screen, these 5 modules which form your foundation and your breadth, this will be the core modules, along with the rightmost to your screen, which is the capstone project. Yeah, so the capstone project, you are typically required to do that before you graduate from the program, but it's also a core course, meaning something everyone that has to go through. And then if you look at the middle portion of your screen, that is the elective portion, the portion where you can choose your depth and what to specialize in. So in this program, very uniquely, the elective portions, we have options from a total of 11 graduate certificate courses. So in each one of these graduate certificate course will lies maybe 6 to 8 or even more modules. So based on what you think you are good at or based on what you prefer to specialize in, choose the graduate certificates accordingly, as long as it makes up 20 units, which is approximately 5 modules. And then at the end of the day, when you graduate from this program, you get both a MSc and at least 1 graduate certificate. So it's dual certification in this sense. Some people graduate for MSc and 2 more certifications. Maybe a graduate certificate in digital supply chain, as well as a graduate certificate in IoT, Internet of Things. So you will graduate with more than 1 certification. So some of the careers enjoyed by our past, current, and of course future students. Industry 4.0 is a broad area, so many career options, very open, very diverse, so not very restrictive to each one of these Industry 4.0 area, but yeah, very diverse. So some of the options here, just listing them down. And then these are some of the companies which has participated in the capstone project module and have sponsored their problem statements. So huge companies like Google, Dell, Micron, Omron, and then we also have NCS. Basically, SME, MNCs, government, agencies, all of them. This is just a small snapshot. So when you participate in this capstone project module, you don't have to worry about finding any one of this company. We will do the allocation accordingly. Of course, if you have a preference, if you are a part-time student, you are working full-time, if you have any preference to do any project from your own company, you can choose to specify as well. We'll try to accommodate their request. But for most part-time students, there may be a confidentiality concern. So when that happens, then not to worry, we'll do the allocation accordingly for you, because we have a long list of partners involved in this. So admission criteria, as you would expect from such a program, you need to come from a STEM background. So basically that will mean science, engineering, computing, math, analytics, or equivalent disciplines. So if your prior undergraduate degree does not belong to one of English language, then you need to fulfill either the TOEFL or the IELTS test. These are the minimum scores. But for most of you, if you graduate here in Singapore or English speaking medium university, then this does not apply. So GRE and GMAT, not strictly mandatory, but if you want to, you can attempt to take them. Our review of applications is holistic. So anything that may be relevant, we will consider them in our review and assessment of your case. And then candidature, very important. If you want to do it on a full-time basis, you can finish as quickly as 12 months, 1 year, 2 regular semesters. If you want to do it on part-time basis, then longer, 18 months or maybe even double the time. So the difference between full-time and part-time is just the workload that you take per semester. So I'll just explain right now because it applies to all our programs. So for full-time students, every semester, you can take a maximum of 5 modules. So that's how you complete the equivalent of 10 modules in 2 semesters, 1 year. So for part-time students, the maximum workload that you can take per semester is just 3 modules. That's why the duration is slightly longer. Other than that, tuition fees, curriculum remains the same, no difference. Yeah. So our tuition fees right now is 53,100. This is an entire tuition fee. Of course, there will be rebates later, I'll explain. But depending on your mode of study, full-time and part-time, this will be broken up into various installments. So if you're a full-time student, 2 semesters, we'll bill you before the start of each semester. So that's 2 installments. If you're part-time students, then of course, by default, 4 installments. There's an application fee of $100. Our main intake is in August. So as I speak right now, the next one is in August 2025. You can actually start to apply from 1st of November onwards all the way until end February if you're local. So if you're an international student, then slightly earlier, 31st of Jan. These are some of the documents that you have to get ready in soft copy because application is done entirely online, entirely digital. You don't need physical real copies at this point. So very standard stuff, your certs and transcript, relevant test scores if you need IELTS, TOEFL, GRE, or GMAT. We need a referee report also, minimum 1, but maximum 2. So I'll explain right now also because it applies to all 3 programs. We don't need you to obtain a testimonial or the recommendation letter at the point of application. We just need you to identify who you want as your referees. So it can be a professional referee, someone who have worked with you in any professional capacity, or it can be an academic referee, a former professor who have taught you back in university. So we just need the email addresses of your intended referee. So during the online application process, you input the email addresses of your referees. Once you submit your application, the system will automatically trigger an email to your referee's mailbox. And then they will have a link to access a referee report template. Just some MCQ and open-ended questions. Once they fill that up, that will be your referee template. Yeah, that will be your referee report, I'm sorry. So that link that we send to your referee will remain valid for 14 days. So at the point of application, you just need to know who you want as your referee, get their approval, and then enter their email addresses. That's all we need. Of course, if you have other supporting documents which you think may help, certifications, prizes, scholarships, anything, we will review your case holistically. So the bank statement and original sponsors letter, that's more for international students where they need to certify that their bank account contains a minimum of 50,000 Singapore dollars, but not so much for locals. Yep. So with that, I'll move on to the second program, the MSc in Venture Creation, formerly known as the Entrepreneurship, MSc in Entrepreneurship, also a multidisciplinary program. The name was changed a couple of years ago because we don't want it to be just for entrepreneurs or budding entrepreneurs. We also want it to be for regular folks in the workforce who want to specialize or go into the innovation departments, which is very prevalent and prominent in many companies here today. So it harnesses the expertise of up to 7 academic departments from NUS. And in this slide, you will see why. So the core modules, which will comprise of 28 units. This program is a bit unique because after all, you're learning how to create a startup, create your own business, how to champion your ideas into reality. So you do a lean startup practicum where they will teach you step by step how to have an idea all the way to translating it into reality. And then experiential learning, you will have an internship where we will allow you to shadow the owner of a startup company for 1 semester. And then there will also be a summer program, 2-week summer program where you get to mingle with like-minded entrepreneurial students from all over the world. And for electives, this is where you see the multidisciplinary component, where you can choose up to 3 modules, that is 12 units, from a whole list of courses offered by these 6 different NUS schools, faculties, and academic departments here. Yeah. So for this program, it's a little bit special. It's all about having your own business and, of course, transforming it into fruition. So we have NUS Enterprise, the most influential force in Singapore's startup ecosystem for the past 20 years. So some stats and some notable startups that comes from NUS Enterprise. So household names like Carousel, 99.co, Caro, all these, they came from NUS Enterprise. So you will have access, you will have networks, and maybe you will also have the opportunity to shadow one of the owners of this company if you join this program. So this is what we offer in terms of experiential learning. Yeah, and these are some of the companies founded by our alumni. Yeah, because we have run this program I think since 2020 as well, not too long ago, but many of them have came out and started their own company. So this is just a snapshot of some of the companies founded by our alumni. Some of them even current students have not graduated yet, yeah. And these are some of the companies that our alumni or past students have worked at. Not all of them, not everyone has the means and not everyone has the interest to start their own business. So for those of you who might not want to go that direction, of course, you can also strive to work in an organization. And then these are some of the notable organizations that our alumni have went on to work in. So admission criteria, this is entrepreneurship. Basically, anyone from any discipline, from any background can embrace this as long as you have a concrete interest in entrepreneurship. So we don't restrict that. So that's why bachelor's degree in any disciplines, that's all you need. So skills and experience, that's an important part. For most of the students for this program, we might conduct an interview, group interview. So that's where you have to show strong interest in entrepreneurship, innovation, including if you have any demonstrated involvement in starting a business or entrepreneurial activities, that will be very much helpful as well. You can detail it in your CV, or you can choose to elaborate this during the interview. So due to the structure of the program, this program is only offered strictly on a full-time mode of study. So that will be a duration of 12, or if you need longer, 18 months. Yeah. Course fees now is 56,000. Same thing, payable in installment. This is the entire tuition fee. Application fee, $100. We have the same intake every year, August. Same application window as well. Same set of documents that you need to submit for application. So if you like more details about this program, visit our booth later, or you can scan the QR code to go on to the official website. Yeah. Yep. So I'll move on to the last program, the MSc in Environmental Management program. So unlike the previous 2 programs, which are newly created in 2019 and 2020 respectively, this program is actually not new at all. It was actually conceptualized and created back in 2001, so a total of 23 years by now. But back then, it was housed within engineering. But just a couple of years ago, it was identified as a strategic program by the University Sustainability and Climate Action Council, because you know of the whole ESG wave and how this topic of study will now be best examined from various schools of thoughts. So after being identified, it was restructured, revamped into a multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary program. So unlike the past, where it comprises of mainly engineering-related modules, it now have options from up to 6 different NUS schools and faculties. So very similar to the programs that you see earlier, you have your foundation and breadth in the form of the 6 core courses that everyone has to go through. You finish things off with a capstone project, similar to the concept that I explained earlier. And then for the elective portions, you get to do 3 courses, 3 modules. There's 12 units from a whole host of elective modules offered by these 6 different NUS schools and faculties here. Yeah. So some of the careers enjoyed by our past, current, and hopefully future students. Yeah, so very ESG related, sustainability manager, green finance, ESG consultant, yeah. And then these are some of the companies who have sponsored their capstone projects since January 2024. So why specifically January 2024 is because we want to give you real examples after the program was revamped into a multidisciplinary program. Because before that, it was more engineering based, so it's very different. So these are some of the notable organizations who have come forward. But of course, because we have partnerships, long-standing partnerships with them, so they come forward to sponsor their projects. And these are some of the projects that our students are working on now for their capstone project modules. Yeah, so A-Star, NEA, NEC, CDL, huge companies, and we have many more as well, not in this slide. So admission criteria, as long as you have a bachelor's degree with honors from a well-recognized university, yeah, that's fine. Not so much restriction on the discipline because, like I mentioned, this whole topic today is best studied from various disciplines or various school of thoughts. And then if you have work experience in the relevant sector, it will be very much preferred because we review applications holistically. So not only academic credentials, we also take into account your professional or industry experience. So it can be done on either a full-time 12 months duration or part-time and slightly longer, 24 months. So like what I mentioned to you earlier, the workload is the only difference. That's why you see the difference in terms of the duration. Yeah, so the fees for this program right now for August 2025 intake is $49,500. Application fee, likewise, $100 to apply. Next intake will be August 2025. Application window is the same as well. Barely a month from now, you can start to apply all the way until next year, end of Jan or end of Feb. Same set of documents as well. Yep. So very importantly, all 3 of the programs that I spoke about earlier, and if you have visited our booth, you will know that more than 80 NUS master's degree by coursework, we are actually offering all citizens and PR a 40% tuition fee rebate. So if you want to find out about the entire list, you can visit our booth, or you can scan the QR code here. We'll bring you to the website where you can view the entire list of programs. So all 3 programs that I spoke about earlier, they will be applicable for the 40% tuition fee rebate. So that's based on your nationality. If you happen to be a NUS alumni, 20%. But if you happen to be a NUS alumni and Singapore citizen or PR, obviously we'll give you the higher quantum, so just 40% flat. You can only enjoy one form of funding. But if you're an international student and NUS alumni, then 20%. Yeah, so as long as you're citizen or PR, almost half of the tuition fees. Yeah, and then for the remaining 60% that you pay out of your pocket, earlier this year, our government announced this Skills Future Level Up program as well, if you remember. So for citizens above 40, you will be given this Skills Future credit top-up of $4,000. So for that same set of programs, after the rebate, the remaining 60% out-of-pocket fees, you can use this $4,000 to offset. But of course, this is your choice because Skills Future credit is your own money. If you want to use it for this, yeah, but if you don't, by all means, you can use it for other purposes as well. Just letting you know the same set of degree programs, master degree programs, which can be applicable for the 40% rebate. You can also use this to offset your out-of-pocket fees, all right? So yeah, to find out about the entire list, you can scan the QR code. It will lead you to the Skills Future website. You can also take a look. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. If you need more details, this is our official website, scale.nus.edu.sg. Scan the QR code just to go there. And then, yeah, if you'd like to speak to us personally about any specific programs, unique situations, of course, we have a booth in the next room. You can visit us after this session. You can ask questions during the Q&A, or if you have anything after today's fair, you can also write in directly to us at pgc@nus.edu.sg. And if you're interested, you can follow us on LinkedIn as well, NUS Masters Program. Yep. All right, so thank you for your attention. That's pretty much from me. And then we have the Q&A segment.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Benjamin Tay. Can I invite you to have a seat? Yeah. Right now, we are opening up for a 20-minute Q&A. And of course, it will be conducted via Poll EV. Those of you who are joining us online, you can also join us as well to scan the QR code and post a question. So you can take out your phones right now and ask any question that you want. And of course, for those of us who are on site right here, there's a microphone right in the aisle, right in the middle. You can walk over there and raise your hand and you can ask a question as well. So if you got any burning question you want to ask, Mr. Tay is here and you can ask your question. Go ahead and ask your question. Now, as I give you a few more seconds to put your questions on the Poll EV, I have some question here. So maybe it'll be relevant for some of you. I'll get the ball rolling. It says here, since multidisciplinary involve different courses from various schools or faculties, how do we ensure that students will be guaranteed spots based on what they have chosen?
Yeah, so this is a very important question and important topic that we actually struggled with a couple of years ago. But of course, we have taken a lot of measures to rectify that. So, example, for the MSc in Smart Industries and Digital Transformation program, you will notice that the elective portion consists of 11 graduate certificates. So these graduate certificates are offered by different schools and faculties, which of course, in the same modules, you also have students from their own host school and faculty taking part in them. So when you actually apply for the program, if you eventually get an offer and you get enrolled into the program, then before you commence, we will actually get you to state your preferences for the grad certs, up to 2 preferences. So if you state, like example, graduate certificate in IoT and graduate certificate in digital supply chain, then our admissions team will then go on and communicate with the respective schools and faculties and ensure that there are sufficient slots reserved for you. Yeah, of course, this is just a preference. You might not choose your preference because sometimes people change their minds when they start the program. But of course, if that happens, then you might not be able to get the module that you want because sometimes there are too many people bidding for the same modules. But this is our best way of ensuring that students who have stated their preferences get the modules that they want at the end of the day. Yep.
Okay. Now we got some questions from Poll EV. Okay, this one is what are the IELTS/GRE requirements?
Well, I think it was in my slide earlier. So this only applies for students who do not have an undergraduate degree conducted in the English language. So there are only 2 English tests that we accept, either the IELTS or the TOEFL. So IELTS, the minimum score, academic score is 6.0. Yeah. GRE, we don't really have a minimum score because, like I mentioned earlier, it's not strictly mandatory. But if you want to take it, we will also review it holistically as part of our job to review applications. But if you like to GRE, maybe 320, yeah, that is a good score to contend with. Yeah.
Okay, anybody here on the ground, you have any question you want to ask, you can head to the microphone, you can let me know. Okay, I'll continue with the Poll EV, okay? There's another one. What kind of support and mentorship do students receive to help them navigate challenges in technology or entrepreneurship?
You get the regular support from NUS, and of course, those of you who know that recently NUS also has a specific department set up for mental health and well-being. So these are some of the welfare support services offered to all students. So for technology, I will suppose, because it's a hot topic for applicants of the MSc in Smart Industries and Digital Transformation program, a lot of them might not have a relevant background. Some of them do not have any knowledge in programming. So what we offer is actually some online courses from EDX in the areas of Python programming. So for students who do not have the background, we will still review, and if they're accepted, we will get them to go on and complete these EDX courses. So as long as they finish that component, then they'll be considered, eligible in terms of having a fundamental Python programming knowledge, and then we will then progress them into the program. Yeah, and then of course for entrepreneurship, there's NUS Enterprise, which will give you all the networks, the contacts, the access, and support when it comes to entrepreneurship, linkages to the startups, and of course direct access to the whole ecosystem.
Wow. Okay. I hope that answered your question. Another one from Paul EV. Please elaborate on mid-career support.
I think the best mid-career support probably will come in the form of the Skills Future credit top-up, the $4,000 that you can use for each of these 3 programs if you are interested. And then for more specifically, I think for specific modules of the MSc Venture Creation and the MSc Smart Industries and Digital Transformation program, a lot of these modules has been submitted individually as Skills Future funded modules. So if you take these Skills Future funded modules, then as a mid-career professional, which is a season above 40, you will be able to enjoy further subsidies, 90% subsidy for each of these modules. So to find out which module is Skills Future funded and which modules are not, you can go on to our official program web pages. We have the whole list of modules there where you can see which one is funded and which one is not. So if you choose those that are funded, if you happen to be mid-career, SSG funded modules, you only need to pay 10% of that modular fees. Yeah. But of course, that doesn't apply to all modules, but we have modules scattered throughout the programs, especially the elective portions. They are Skills Future funded, where you can exercise your status as a mid-career professional and enjoy further funding on top of those that I've mentioned today. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Even I myself probably need to go and check it out. Yeah. Okay, this one is a very good question from Paul EV. If you have any question here on the ground, you can just tell me, okay? But I read here. There are courses which are stackable. So does such stackability apply to scales courses?
Yeah, very much so, but it may also apply to other courses because each module that you take, you have to see which program does it belong to. So, example, if you take a graduate certificate especially for local students who are working full-time, you might not want to dive straight into the full MSc program. So the best example will be the MSc Smart Industries and Digital Transformation program, where if you remember earlier, the whole elective portion is made up of our graduate certificates yet. So you don't take the MSc directly, you can choose to take a graduate certificate first. And then if you think that the rigor is something that you can cope with, then move on slowly to the MSc program. So when you apply for the MSc program, whatever that you have taken in the graduate certificate, all those modules they are valid for credit transfer, so you don't need to take them again. So that's what we meant by stackability. Yeah, but if some of these graduate certificates program, they don't just belong, or some of these modules, they don't just belong in one program, they might belong to other programs as well. So when that happens, if you apply for the relevant program, then that's how they can be stacked as well. So the valid period for credit transfer based on NUS credit transfer and exemption policy is up to 10 years. Yeah, so whatever you have taken, you don't need to take again if the future program that you apply has that same particular module. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're firing the questions. Continue. This one is pretty good. Is there any special requirements for foreigners taking up part-time courses working in Singapore on EP? Also, is there any scholarships for such students?
Typically, no special requirements. As long as you fulfill the admission requirements that you see earlier that I've shown, then you are welcome to apply for the program. So the inquirer mentioned that he has an EP employment pass, right? So that's a very important point because in order to study part-time in Singapore, especially if you're an international student, you need to have a valid pass to reside in Singapore for the entirety of the program. So that can be a work permit, S-pass, E-pass, or dependent pass. If you don't have one, then you can't apply for the part-time program. You have to apply for the full-time program. So when that happens, then the university will apply for student pass for you to reside in Singapore for the duration of the program. Yeah.
Okay.
Scholarships, right? He meant.
Yeah,
for international students, unfortunately, no, unless you're NUS alumni, then you get 20% rebate off the tuition fees. Because for all these programs, we refer to them as self-funded programs. So as the name suggests, self-funded meaning everything out of own pocket. Just that we are doing something more to help the citizens and PRs. That's why close to half of the tuition fees will come in the form of the 40% tuition fee rebate. Yeah.
Okay, maybe a few more. This one is good. Will there be any interviews for the mentioned scale courses?
For
Any interviews at all?
For the MSc in Venture Creation, typically, yes, we conduct group interviews, so largely virtual. So I think if you are chosen, 4 to 5 of you will come into the same session, and then there'll be a group interview. For the other two, there might be, but not mandatory. A lot of applicants, if they are chosen, they might just be given a direct offer without having to go through an interview. Usually, if we decide that an interview is required, it may be because there are certain portions that you have detailed in your application portal that we would like to find out more. We need more clarification from you. Yeah.
Okay, this one is a very practical one. Will applying for more than one program have any disadvantage? Example, assigning student to the less popular one.
Yeah, this actually no disadvantage. If you want my honest opinion, then it's all advantages. Because there's typically no limit to the number of programs that you can apply at NUS. So as you all know, it's rather competitive, all programs offered at NUS, because the number of applications that we have usually is more than the number of seats that we have on offer. So let's say if you apply for all three, the only disadvantage from your end is instead of paying $100 application fee, you have to pay $300 because you apply for three programs. But at the end of the day, if you receive more than one offer, then you just have to choose which program you want to be enrolled in. So applying for more programs might relate to more chances of admissions, if you are able to contend with the larger outlay of the application fees. But every application that you submit will be reviewed independently by a separate team. Yeah, so there wouldn't be an instance where you are placed lower on certain ranks or anything of that sort when it comes to reviewing your applications. Yeah.
Well, the questions here are all very practical. Can you select just 1 to 2 models to take for the semester full-time program?
Full-time, yes. Actually, both full-time and part-time, you can have the options, which is why earlier you see in my slides, for both mode of study, there is a range. So for full-time, if you remember, it's 12 to 24 months. So basically, that is the fastest that you can complete the program, 12 months, to the longest that you can take, the maximum candidature of the program, 24 months. So if you take it on default, let's say for full-time students, 12 months, you will do 5 modules in each semester. That's how you can complete in 1 year, right? So 10 modules, 5, and that's it. But if you think that workload is too heavy, then you can also stretch it a little bit by taking lesser modules per semester. So when that happens, then you need a longer time to complete. But as long as you don't exceed the maximum candidature period, then your tuition fees will still be the same. The only repercussion is every additional semester that you incur, right? At NUS, whether if you're undergraduate or postgraduate students, every student will have to pay this student service fee. That's on a semester basis. So if you incur additional semester, then you have to pay additional student service fee of about $250. This is to allow you access to the various NUS facilities, resources, course materials, and whatnot. Yeah. So this is the only repercussion. Otherwise, don't exceed the maximum candidature. Actually, you have the flexibility to decide how long you want to take to complete the program.
So to be clear, tuition fee and student service fee separate,
Separate. Tuition fees wouldn't change because tuition fee is based on the number of modules that you take. So for this program, doesn't matter if you finish in 12 months or 18 months, it's the same number of modules. So that's why your tuition fee don't change. But if you take 3 semesters, 1 more than the norm, then you have to pay additional student service fee for the additional semester.
Okay, so this leads very well to the next question. So interested in MSc in energy systems as a part-time student, which will take about 2 years, the 40% off is on the whole 2 year of tuition fee? Or will it be on the first year, then subsequently it will be based on merits? For example, your GPA must hit a certain level, then only eligible for the 40% on the next year.
Actually, MSc Energy System is under CDE, but I can answer that question because the concept is the same. So yeah, the tuition fee that you see for any of our self-funded coursework, master's degree by coursework program is on a program basis. So that's the entire program fee. So the 40% will be applied. So you just take, if it's 50,000, then you take 40% off, and then you only need to pay 60% of that. And then that amount will be spread according to installments based on your mode of study. If you do part-time, then more semesters, more installments, right? Do full-time, 2 semesters, then 2 installments. So no GPA requirement, you just have to follow the usual minimum 3.0 out of 5.0. That is the minimum GPA you need to progress, minimum GPA that you need to graduate. So we will stick to that same model. Yeah.
Okay, I hope that answers your question. But this one's a pretty good one. For the MSc, Smart Industries and Digital Transformation Program, can I choose to exit the program halfway and be awarded with a graduate certificate?
Yeah, unfortunately, no, it doesn't work that way. If you apply and you enroll into the master's degree directly in the first instance, then you are considered a candidate of the master's degree. So if you don't complete, then of course you don't receive anything. If you complete, then you receive a master's degree along with at least one or more graduate certificates. So if you want to have the graduate certificate first before you get an eventual master's degree, then the ideal scenario, ideal model to consider will be to take the graduate certificate first, and then if you think you are ready for more, if you think that the rigor suits your schedule, and eventually apply to the master's degree maybe sometime later. Yeah, so whatever you've done in the grad cert, you will still get the credit exemptions when you arrive at the master's degree. Yeah.
Okay, and then this one, can we take 2 majors for master's degree at NUS?
No, typically based on what is shown, that is what you will graduate with. So not so much on majors, but if you look at the model of the MSc Smart Industries and Digital Transformation, then you can actually have specializations because you will graduate with the MSc, and then the grad cert, that's where you can refer to, that's what you can refer to as specializations. Yeah. Major, yeah, no, only one.
Okay, last and final question. Is PR considered as international category for application period?
No, PR is considered local. So citizens and PR, they are local. So if you're interested in any of the 3 programs that I mentioned earlier, you will have all the way until end of February. Yeah, just like if you remember the 40% tuition fee rebate, applicable to citizens and PR. So PR is usually considered in the same category as Singapore citizens. Yeah, international students are which are neither citizens or PR. Yep.
Thank you very much. Let's give Mr. Benjamin Tay a big round of applause. He answered so many questions. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Tay. And we have now reached the end of our 20-minute Q&A.